Hi, everybody, and welcome. My name is Charlotte, and it is the end of the first quarter of 2022, and I am going to go ahead and give you guys a budget update. A few things have changed this month. One of them would be the fact that I did get a raise. So every pay period, I will be getting a little bit more money that I can put towards paying off some debts and some other things. Right now, it will be paying off some debts. My water bill, I got a notice starting this month that they will start doing a annual rate increase, which it was about a 4 to 5% rate increase on the water bill, and my water bill is already, I have it budgeted $130 every single month. So I'm not looking forward to that one. And then I wasn't being completely not transparent, but truthful with myself on the home security. I have a home security company that monitors my house, and on that, in order to get it installed, I had to upgrade the equipment that I had because my equipment was so out of date. And so basically I am having to pay, I had to take a loan out to pay for the equipment. And luckily with that loan, it's a 0% interest rate loan, but it is something that I am actually having two charges coming out from the company. And one is the actual monitoring of my home, the security part of it. And then the other one is to pay off the equipment. So when I get to the debts, I'm calling that my home security equipment loan. But I decided to break it out. Like I said, two different charges are coming out of my bank account, one for the monitoring and one for the equipment. So it is a loan. It's not gaining any interest. It's just a flat, I got the loan for the total amount that was due, and then I'm having to pay it off monthly. So it is a debt. I am adding it onto my debt, basically. So that is an update. And then the other thing, my Netflix, it's not a big increase, but my Netflix, I've been at the lowest plan with them for ages now, where it's just streaming on one device. And it was, I think, $8.99 or $8 something for the longest time. And for me, I live in Texas, so we have sales tax. So it was $9.73 every single month for a decade, I think, almost. And so they finally are like, okay, we're finally going to do an increase on that. So total, they increased it to $9.99, I think. So for me, with taxes added, it will be $10.81 every single month. So not a big increase, but just a slight increase. And that's pretty much all the changes in like the regular monthly expenses and income that have been coming in. And I am currently looking at my budget thing here. I am still on my weekly check-ins. I'm still tracking groceries, household, restaurants, actually groceries, household, and pet supplies, because those are the ones that I always go crazy on trying to, I overpurchase on all of those. Groceries, not so much, because I've been trying to stay doing that a little bit better, but my sinking funds, nothing really has changed with that. The only thing that is possibly going to change is that I have an account out there that is for when we eventually go through the process of me buying this house and this house will become mine. I had set up an account for me to go ahead and put basically what I was paying for rent to my mom. I would be putting that into the sinking fund, so that way I would be able to pay for the homeowners association fees, the insurance for the house, and the yearly taxes for the house. However, we've done some things. So right now, my mom had the driveway, patio, all of that replaced, but our homeowners association is being a pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. And they keep denying my mom, saying we need a permit from the city of Houston and all of this type of stuff. So she is finally getting that, she finally got to the right place after months of someone telling her what to do, where to go. I mean, they threatened a lawsuit, the homeowners association threatened a lawsuit, everything. And my mom's like, if you just tell me where to go to do the stupid permit, I would do it. Homeowners associations are not the best. So she finally was able to actually get someone on the phone, talk to them, get her directed to the right location. We have submitted an application for the permit, and we just have to wait for them to actually come out and give us a permit, even though we've already replaced the driveway and the patio and the sidewalk. So, but she did send the stuff to the HOA saying, here's the permit number, here's all of this stuff. It's, showing that we are trying to get it done. It's just, now we have to wait for the city to come out and do what they have to do to give us the permit. And the other thing that happened with the house, she got the notice on the taxes for this house, like the appraisal for this house, and it went up $67,000 between last year and this year. So she has contacted someone to come out and kind of fight the appraisal, basically, and try to get the appraisal down and get our taxes down. And it says in there that if you go through that process, you have to wait a year, a certain amount of months or something like that before you sell the house. And when my mom was talking to her realtor friend, the realtor said, you really want to get the appraisal down before you sell the house, because if you sell the house with the higher appraisal, then that means that I will not be able to actually fight. Once I own the house, I won't be able to fight to get the appraisal down for a time, something like that. I kind of understand it, but not really. So the house becoming mine, it's on standby now, probably for about a year. And I will be tapping into my vacation sinking fund at some point this year, because I am planning to go to South Korea to visit my older sister. South Korea has, as of April 1st, opened up the restrictions for vaccinated individuals to be able to go there without having to quarantine for the 5, 7, 10 day, I forget how long it was for them. But so I am planning to do that. But of course, I don't have enough money in my vacation fund to even afford a plane ticket right now to go. So what I have in my vacation fund will be for spending expenses when I get there, and to pay my sister back for restaurants or any of that type of stuff that we might share or things. Going into my savings / retirement stuff. So the savings, there are 3 of them for savings. One is my emergency fund, and that is the fund that if I lose my job, I would be able to live my normal life for a certain amount of months without having to start struggling. So I currently have $8,671.50 saved up in my emergency fund, and that basically would allow me to live without cutting anything out for 2 months, I think. When I did my 2022 savings emergency fund tracker type thing, it was for 3 months, it needed to be $10,000, a little bit more, in between $10,000 and $11,000. And so I'm just shy of that a little bit. So I feel a lot better with that. I am still putting $100 away into that account every single month. It's not a lot, but it is. I am putting stuff away into the account. With the emergency fund, I feel comfortable with that. I, of course, would love to have 3 to 6 months, but right now with 2 months, I'm comfortable with that. I will just continue to put stuff away in there as I can. But first, I have the money saved up for at least 2 months. My focus now is to pay off debts with any extra money that I have. But we'll get into debts right after savings and retirement. My next savings account is what I call my emergency fund. So in case my emergency fund gets depleted for some reason, I have a money market account, and it is something that I started when my grandmother passed away. It might have been like the extra money from when we sold her house. And after I paid off my student loans with that and all of that, I had some money to set up a couple CDs and a money market savings account. So in this one, I opened it up with $10,000. It currently is sitting at $10,283.88. I really don't put any money into that account. It just gains $12, $13 interest every single month on it. I'm okay with it sitting out there because it is, like I said, an emergency fund to my emergency fund. Once the debts are paid off, I will also start contributing to that as well. But right now, I'm not doing that. I'm just letting it gain some interest. It's out there. I don't touch it. It's cash that I can get out easily if I need to. Then I have a 5-year CD, which I am on year 4, I think. It matures in May of 2024. I opened it with $5,000 and it currently has $5,451.68. That is something that just gains interest. It sits out there until it matures. I really don't want to touch it because I would end up losing some of the money. I can probably go in there and try to I think they give me the option to where I can redo some of the stuff and put it to where it's only 6 months. Then I could take that out in 6 months when it matures and put it towards debt. That's another thing I might look at. But right now I'm going to go ahead and keep it there. I'm not in dire need for it. For retirement, I have 2 401ks. One is from a previous employer that really should be rolled over into an IRA of some sort. I haven't had the time to do any research on which one I want, what is the best one, any of that type of stuff. And then the third retirement that I have, I'm calling funds. It is stuff that I just got last year from my mom, and it's stuff that was my grandmother's. So when my grandmother passed away, she had these funds, and my mom was the beneficiary on them when my grandmother passed away, so my mom received them. But in truth, my grandmother wanted all of the stuff really to go to her granddaughters. So let's just say my mom ended up splitting them out last year when the market was a little bit better and they had gained some money, because right after my grandmother passed away, it's like all of a sudden everything just started crashing, and everything based on the stock market, things started not doing too well, and they lost a lot of money, and they had just started to gain money and were doing fairly well when my mom went ahead and was like, let's split them out. And for me, I am letting the financial advisor that was in charge of them when my grandmother was alive, I'm letting him continue to take control over that. But I did get those last year, and they are things that if I needed to, I could cash out on all of that. I'd have to pay crap load in taxes and all of that. And right now, it's retirement, because what I have in my 401ks is not enough. So it's kind of, with me being 41, almost 42, I need to really start thinking about retirement and having money saved up, because I don't want to work until I want to enjoy my senior years of life, whenever that is. But the 401k, my 401ks total about $59,800, give or take. So I'm not breaking them out into two different ones, but total they're about $59,000. And I would like them to be a lot higher, but it's based on stock markets, and I don't know what would happen if I rolled over one of them into the IRA. I really would have to look at that, but right now focus is on paying off debt, and then I'll start focusing on the retirement and investing side of things. And the funds are actually sitting at $144,263. I am very thankful that I received that money. However, as I was doing my taxes this year, I do receive dividends on those funds. However, I don't actually receive the physical cash on those dividends. They are reinvested inside of the funds, but I received the dividend, the 1099 dividend form this year, and I was a little shocked that my tax return wasn't going to be as much because I had those now. So I maybe in the future, depending on how things go, I may end up having to actually pay the IRS more money. We'll see how that goes, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with paying taxes. I really am okay with paying taxes. Savings and retirement total, $228,613.82. Like I said, I'm very thankful to have where my net worth is in the plus because of my two retirement plans and the funds. If I didn't have those, I would not be in the black on my net worth. I would be in the red. So I'm very thankful to have that money there. But I don't touch those 3 accounts because, like I say, they're retirement. They are there for when I retire and not working a regular day job like I currently am right now. Moving on to debts. And this is the biggest change really, and some of it hasn't even changed all that much. So at the beginning of April, on April 1st, it started in March where I was like, let's break out the home security equipment loan from the actual amount that I was paying to the home security. So it's not really broken out because it's already broken out, but I was just adding the two together and saying, okay, that's my home security bill. But really and truly, that's not my home security bill. My home security bill is only $39 and the loan amount is $62. So I needed to split those out. And excuse me as I get comfortable in my squeaky chair. So let's start off with the car loan, and I'll just go down in the order that I have it in my budget notebook. Car loan. As of April 1st, I am at $9,998.69. Minimum payment is still $399.46. I decided that I was going to pay $525 to the car loan every single month. That way I can see that every other month that total debt amount is going down $1,000. And I'm at that point now with my car loan that the majority of what I'm paying on the minimum payment is actually going towards the principal and not the interest. But it's still, when you average out the $525, it's still at almost $10,000 on the car loan. That's still another 20 months that I have to pay the $525. It's a lot. But I want to get it paid off quickly. That's the other thing. So after I talk about all the actual amounts on the debts, we'll talk about my plan for repayment and that part of it, really. Credit card number 1 is the credit card that I share with my mom. It is an emergency credit card for if anything should happen to this house and she's not able to get here to pay for it out of her checkbook, then I'm able to put it on the credit card and pay for it that way. And then just send her either the bill from the person, the service, the plumber, the electrician, AC, whomever, or I can just give her the credit card bill and give it to her and she can pay the credit card company if there's nothing else on there. And lately, I haven't had anything on there. It's just been sitting at zero, and which is a good thing because that's one debt that's been paid off. However, for April, it is the annual fee for the credit card, which is only $35. So I have actually already paid that $35. So yay. So it's back down to zero as of today, which today is the 6th of April. Credit card 2 is the second longest debt that I've had. And it's a credit card that I've had since my last undergraduate semester of college. And that's one reason why I don't close it. I need to call them about getting the interest rate lowered. But, it is what it is. It currently is, as of April 1st, sitting at $2,126.56. The minimum payment is currently $41. That still has a lot of money on it from when I had all the cats' teeth cleaning, their vet visits, all of that type of stuff that got sprung on me around Christmas time. Yay. The vet visits were not a surprise. The 3 cats that ended up having to get teeth cleaned right at the end of the year was not good. 3 out of the 4 cats needed teeth cleaning, and 2 of them barely were 18 months old when they had their teeth cleaned. So I'm not looking forward to the vet bills going forward on any of these cats. I also, in March, ended up having a malfunction with my Apple Watch, and I now can't survive without an Apple Watch. So let's just say that the old watch was no longer updating. It was out of space. I couldn't delete anything off of it to get any room to download the updates, to do all of that. It disconnected from my phone and then wouldn't reconnect because there was no space for me. It needed the upgrade to... I bought a new Apple Watch. Although this one, it's one of the newer ones. It's one of the 7 Apple Watch 7s. But it is on the cheaper end. It doesn't contain the cell data stuff. It's just the GPS. It's the smaller size. I got the cheaper casing, it's not cheap. None of it's cheap. But so there was that. And then because I was on Apple, I was really wanting to get one of the Apple Home Mini things. They're the speakers like the Alexa or the Google thing, and I'm an Apple person, so I wanted to get those. So I ended up getting 2, and I eventually will get a 3rd one to put here in the office to replace the speaker that I have here, because the sound quality out of the Apple Home Minis are so much better than the speaker that I have. But it costs a lot more for the Apple than the speaker that I have. That was $800 at Apple that I put on the credit card. And yeah, so that increased the amount since April 1st. I have paid $400 towards that. So I've already paid for most of the watch. Like, I've paid for the watch itself, not the band. Basically is what I've paid for. I always see it that way. It's like when I bought my car. I bought the trunk of the car. I still have the whole engine, driver, passenger seat that I had to pay off. So now I'm like at the engine area trying to pay off my car. That's how I see it in my head. That's how I visualize it. It's like I've paid for just this part of the watch, but not the band. Okay. Then the 3rd credit card that I have is my business credit card, and I don't have a separate bank account for my business expenses for YouTube, for my editing business. I put everything on this credit card, so that way it's separate. I don't put anything else on that credit card besides the business side of things. And the biggest thing that is on this credit card is the computer that I am filming this on. It is my Apple iMac. And that total right now for the credit card is sitting at $4,866.11. I realized, I think January, February, whenever I sat down to do my budget the last time for filming purposes, that I was not paying. I have monthly expenses that are getting charged to the credit card every single month. And I was like, okay, I'm paying the minimum payment. That covers it. I actually sat down. I'm like, the interest on top of it the total debt was actually going up every single month because I was not covering those expenses. So currently the minimum payment is $109.28. And like I said, we'll talk about payment plans, payment things once we get done with the next debt, which is the new one, which is the home security equipment loan. It currently has a 0% interest. So basically what happened was that when I went to do the home security, I needed to get financed for, and that's just how a lot of these places work. You get financed for the total amount of the equipment that I'm getting at that time. And then I just slowly pay it back. And they have to set it up that way. If I had thought about it, and if I had the money at the time, I don't think I had the money at the time, I would have just gone in on that second month and just paid the total off, which was $3,000 something. I'm not quite sure. It's been a year since I've had the security system updated, and it is now sitting at $2,801.25. So if I've been paying $62.25 for 12 months, it's in the 3,000 range pretty much. I don't, like I said, don't remember the total amount, but it does not increase. It only decreases every single month. And that one is on my last debt to pay off because it is not accruing any interest on it at all. Total debts with all 5 of those added, we are at $19,827.61. So it has increased because I have added in that home security loan. But everything else has gone down except for that credit card too. But it has gone down. It has gone down. Oops. I was trying to hold out on the Apple Watch. I really was. And then I just don't know what happened to it. It disconnected. Anyways, the payment plan. So you could do your research on all of the payment plans out there. I previously, when I was working on paying off my debt previously, I did the snowball where you pay off your lowest debt first, and then move on to the next one. Once you pay that off, you take whatever you were paying towards that debt, put it to the next lowest debt, and you just keep doing that. You just keep adding and adding and adding. And slowly, once you get to your biggest debt, you have a fairly large chunk of money that you can just start paying off the debt faster. And so I did that previously, and before I got my new car, and then when I got my new car in 2020, I signed a loan, went back in debt. It is what it is. I needed a new car at that time, and I didn't have the money saved up. So my plan is not to do the snowball effect, because if that were the case, I would work on credit card number 2. And honestly, I am paying more towards that credit card. So I am doing a snowball on that one. I am paying more on it. Whatever extra money I have at the end of the month, I'm paying towards that credit card. However, knowing that the car loan, I'm so close, under 2 years to pay that thing back, and seeing how much a month I'm paying towards that $525, and that was my option. I could still keep it at the minimum payment and have all that extra $125 going towards the credit card. But knowing that the $525 is a huge chunk of money every single month. And looking at the credit card number 2, where it's at $2,100, if I didn't have the car loan at $525, I could take 4 car loan payments and basically pay off credit card number 2 in 4 months. So I am doing a snowball because I am putting as much money as I can to my lowest debt, which is credit card number 2 at $2,100. But I'm also putting money towards the car loan because it being such a high chunk of monthly expenses, I just want to get it gone because that $525 can be used for so many things. So my main focus is, of course, I'll just keep the car loan payment at $525. I won't add any extra, any less. I now know that doing $525, I will be able to knock it down that $1,000 every other month. And I'm okay with that because eventually I'll have a little bit more extra money that I can put towards it and I can get it knocked down faster. So I'm going to continue doing that. For credit card number 2, I just automatically am paying $100 every single month. That covers the minimum payment, which is currently at $41 for this month and a little bit extra. But like I say, at the end of the month, when I look at my expenses and everything, I will also pay more towards that credit card with whatever I have left over that I feel comfortable putting towards that credit card. Business credit card, minimum payment is $109.28. The regular expenses are $68.83 or something like that. So I am currently doing where I'm just paying $195 towards the business credit card. So it covers the minimum payment, the monthly expenses, and then a little bit extra towards the actual debt. Not much, but a little bit extra. And then the home security loan, I'm just going to keep that at the $62.25. It's on my last thing that I will pay off, even though it is only $2,800. Credit card number 2, want to get it paid off. And then it's a toss-up between the business credit card and the car loan. I'm not quite sure which one will come first, but it's one of the car loan business credit card. But basically, when I have credit card number 2 paid off, all of that extra money is going to the business credit card to get it paid off. And I won't do anything to the car loan. I'll just keep that at $525. Once I get both the credit cards paid off, maybe the car loan, then I'll focus on the home security loan because I don't think there was a time frame on when I had to have it paid off, and because it's a 0% interest, it's kind of like eh. But I'm being transparent with myself, truthful with myself. It is a debt. It needs to be paid off. It is. So, and it will be paid off. So I don't know what the exact net worth on all of that stuff is. I'd have to go and actually look at all of that. But I am feeling secure about things. I just need to stop spending on things. So that's the unfortunate thing. So it is, I'm still spending things. So I need to get a little bit more restrictive on what I'm buying. And it may be where I have to delete apps off of my phone. Amazon. Everybody has these moments where they spend on things that they shouldn't be spending on, and I need to be a little bit more restrictive. However, I am also trying to do some repairs to the house and kind of redo some rooms in the house. I am trying to limit what I'm buying. However, sometimes you just have to buy. but I'm trying to be cost conscious when I'm buying the stuff. On my recent renovation refresh of my dining room, I tried to make it as low budget as possible because I was in the middle of a no spend month, which was February. And I had already purchased some items, and then I had already purchased the paint and everything. So really and truly, total, when you add in the paint, the curtain rod, all of that type of stuff, it was under $100 to do that. I basically pulled from furniture around my house, and I pulled decorations as well that I had actually in storage. And I finally unboxed them after years of sitting in my storage closet. And I am actually really happy with the dining room because it's like, for less than $100, I changed the whole dining room look, really. So I was very thankful for that. I'm currently working on I will be starting to work on the front room and doing the repainting, patching walls, redoing some furniture and everything. It has gotten a little spendy as of yesterday, and I am needing to reel myself back in. I do not plan on purchasing anything else for the front room after what I've purchased yesterday, because it was a lot. And of course, I will go through, when I film that video and do a rundown of everything, I will actually give how much everything cost in that video as well. But it's more than $100, let's just put it that way. But it will have a whole different feel in that room, and I am looking forward to that. This quarter, my main focus is to stop spending on things and try to be a little bit more cost conscious. So I've been shopping at one grocery store specifically, and it is a little bit more expensive. So I have started to switch where I'm basically starting off at Aldi, which has cheaper prices a little bit, and trying to buy things there. And then whatever other items that I can't find there, because sometimes you can't find what you really want at Aldi, I will go to some of the other grocery stores and try to get the lower cost on all of them. And so I'm going to try to be more cost conscious on things like that. As far as driving places, gas is what it is right now. That's unfortunate that it is going down, but I will have to start going into the office soon. And later on this month, I will have to start going in 2 days a week to the office. And that is 25 miles that I have to drive one way, so a total of 50 miles a day. Thankfully, I have a more energy efficient car. It's not hybrid, but it is, let's just say I made it from my house to Tulsa on one tank of gas, which was 500 miles. It's about 500 miles from here to Tulsa, to Oklahoma. And it shocked me. I was able to drive around Tulsa a couple days to and from the hotel to my grandfather's house and all of that. And right before we were leaving to come back to Houston, I filled up with my gas. I still had not gotten to the point where the gas light on my car had lit up. So at least I know I can go quite a distance in my car, even with the AC going, because we went in August so the AC was blowing. So I do have a more cost efficient car, and because I will be going into the office, I am hoping that at least with the 2 days a week, that the home energy bill, the electric bill, will be a little bit lower. The water bill will be a little bit lower because I'm not here during the day, and I can keep the curtains shut during the day and allow the AC to do what it's supposed to do. And so those are the plans for at least this quarter, and I will be back the end of second quarter. Actually, it would be the beginning of third quarter with another update on how I'm doing, and hopefully I will have paid more on the debts on all of this, and I'm hoping to get one credit card. I'm hoping to get credit card 2 paid off in the next quarter. That is my goal. that is what I'm planning to do, is to get that paid off. And I'll check back with you guys next time on another budget update. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and I will be back next time. Bye, everybody.